Hello, I'm Rupert Turton and welcome to the Business Spotlight interview where we talk to local business owners about their journey. This week, I'm joined by Tony Reeves, who's the director at RJD Technology. Tony, it's probably easier for me to ask you what you do and how long you've been doing it rather than for me to try and describe it. So, well, first of all, welcome along. But yeah, what exactly does RJD do?
Thanks, Rupert. Well, yeah, this has been an interesting year for us over the last calendar year. So we started Level 7 Expertise back in 2016, and in August 2023, we were privileged to take on RJD Technology Limited. It's a company that we've known for quite some time, probably 12, 13 years, something like that. And we were offered the opportunity to acquire the business and take on, as a going concern, the staff, the contracts, the organisation, the structures, the accreditations. And the last 6 months really has been entirely focused on understanding what we now do as a joint business, identifying what we can do better and how to step forwards. Largely, we work in defence, and that's sort of 98% of the business is in the UK MOD defence environment. And we do work for other government organisations and occasionally for international partners. And it really boils down to three things. We are very strong in systems engineering in complex and difficult spaces, classified spaces often. We have a very strong thread of subject matter expertise in intelligence, operations, joint air-land warfare, maritime, and a whole host of other arenas, cybersecurity and so on, but not cyber essentials. I'm talking big cyber.
Yeah.
And then the third stream is something that we've grown over time, and we're now describing it as an intelligence as a service offering. It works in a couple of different areas. We've got one capability that looks at our own systems, processes, capabilities, infrastructure for the purposes of defence. And then we also can we're working with other partners, and in a kind of all source environment, we have an intelligence as a service offering that's now working in the unclassified space, where we can really go after some of the big problems that are around the world that might be vexing decision makers and leaders.
Wow. So quite a complex world you inhabit then.
Yes, just about everything we do is contextualized by complexity and things that are complicated. But then if it was easy, I often say this to the team, if it was easy, they wouldn't need us. And our clients have us in high demand, so we're fortunate to be good at what we do.
Yeah. So in the time you've been running the two businesses, then what have been the biggest issues you've had to overcome?
Well, with RJD, it's been really interesting in that clearly a very successful business, and a business with a lot of longevity, reputation, and strength.
Yeah.
But it was founded 20 years ago, and it would be fair to say that a lot of the way that the business has operated hasn't really changed over time, and that in a much more connected, dispersed world where our team work entirely virtually. We don't have a fixed office. We have some locations that we work from, client sites particularly. So the guys can be spread here and there, everywhere across the UK and internationally. We needed to give them the supporting structures and processes to allow them to work in that sense, to be as good as they can be and efficient as they can be, whilst giving them all the tools and structures that would allow them to succeed. That's not been straightforward. So there's a lot of change. And of course, as you try and enact some technology change, often what is really happening here is there's a process change or there's cultural change required in order to adopt the new technology. So there's a lot of development in terms of how we're modernizing. However, fundamentally, what we are about to do is launch something we're currently calling New RJD, and more of this in due course, which is changing how we operate completely. And we're shifting from a top-down hierarchical structure that most military people would recognize, managing director, team leaders, teams. We're shifting that completely, and we are really going after an empowered leadership model where people in the company have the authority and autonomy to operate in the best interest of the company as they see it at the time. That's a big transition and a cultural shift, a real dynamic shift in terms of empowerment, authorities, delegations, who can do what, who manages risk, all that sort of thing. and it's certainly a work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
It's new to a lot of people. It's certainly nothing that I've done before, but we've got the opportunity with RJD to be able to enact this, whilst managing our risk, but also to try something that is essentially the sort of the best of breed of a whole suite of approaches that I've read about and tried myself firsthand. We've now got an opportunity to do it for real, and it feels like it's succeeding. Now, fast forward a couple of years, watch this space. We'll let you know whether it's worked or not. But I think this is the best way for us to succeed.
Yeah. So what were the learnings then, since you've been a business owner, that led you to that change in the way you ran the business?
Well, principally the realization that if we carried on as I'd enacted in level 7, I was the hub of the business, commercial ops director, all that sort of stuff. Replicating that with RJD was limiting really quickly in that my capacity ran out very, very quickly. And although we had good supporting structures, and because as I've alluded to, the need to modernize and speed up and make more efficient, it was a really heavy workload. And I very quickly realized that the goals we'd set ourselves in terms of growth, headcount, revenues, performance, reputation, and our customers really feeling that we're doing a good job, those are all at risk because of my lack of capacity. And as the principal owner and director of the business, then when you realize that actually it's you that's causing the problem, you have to change something. So I've been looking around for quite some time. I do a lot of reading, and you and I have talked in the past about David Marquet's Turn the Ship Around, Patrick Lencioni's 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. I have some small talent for building strong teams. Now we've got the real opportunity to put this into practice. Can we really do it? Can we really create a company that has a lot of success on an individual basis, but also holding this up as a whole entity? And it was that self-awareness really that drove that, in that I couldn't do what I wanted to do if I kept working the same way. So change was required. Start with me.
Okay. So with all that said then, what are your aspirations for the company in the next 5 years? You've talked about the change you're going to make. You've talked about what that means to you personally. But what's the company going to look like in 5 years' time?
Yeah, I think if we were to describe that today, we'd certainly be saying, a more modernized approach. We'd certainly be bigger. So my aspiration is we should be 2 to 3 times bigger than we are now by 5 years. Healthily profitable with good, strong revenues, diversity of income, not wholly subordinate to the MOD. Looking at opportunities in other sectors. Now, clearly, that's difficult. Close sectors are easier than further away. Some of our customers are very keen that we remain a UK only company, and that's an important thing, that we have to be very sensitive to our customers' needs. But I see really a few things. The first thing is doing more and better for our current customers and retaining our customers, but doing more and doing better. Finding new customers that have similar needs, but have that particularly based on that intelligence as a service. That's a growth area. And then launching ourselves in a fairly high profile manner into that space. And again, doing well and finding the right sort of organizations to work with. We're essentially problem solvers at heart, and finding the right problems. So I can see us being that much bigger. I can see it being that much more noisy. People talking about it, recognized name. For me personally, my aspiration is to be stood in a team of people in front of our business, and whether it's virtual or whether it has an office at that point. And for us all to be wearing our company t-shirts and proud to do so, cheering about how successful we've been over the last 5 years. For it to be a big team.
Wow, cool. There's quite a big goal.
Well, they always say you should set yourselves, is it BHAG, isn't it? Big, hairy, audacious goals.
Absolutely.
That's ours. That's really what we're getting after. And what I'm learning has been really interesting is that when we first talked about this back in August with the team, we couched our aspirations quite cautiously. As the time has gone on, what I found is that we're actually getting more aspirational as we understand more about what we all do across the 2 businesses that we're now merging into one.
Yeah.
driving forwards. We're getting very excited, and it's not a sort of heady, we're too excited running around uncontrolled, but we are really getting after this, and it's showing us that perhaps our initial aspirations weren't bold enough, and we could go faster, we could go bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need the right people. We've got an amazing array of talent inside the business. My role now is to get them prepared for all their futures,
Yeah.
and to create the conditions for them to succeed. We probably need to add 1 or 2 people from outside as well. We're lacking in a couple of areas, but that's okay. Right now we're fine, but
Yeah.
as we hit those growth targets, we're going to need to professionalize a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
But it's really exciting.
Yeah.
And me personally, that's what drives me into this, is how exciting this is going to be in the coming years.
Yeah. Yeah. So, with all that said, then, and everything that you've been through, particularly recently, what would you say to anyone thinking of going into business?
Oh, they should absolutely do it. Now that's a glib statement. Can I talk to you a little bit about before I answer the question fully?
Yeah.
There's a guy that I look up to in business terms, a
Yeah.
chap called Hugh Griffiths, who
Yeah.
until recently was the CEO of Inspire, based in Lincoln.
Hmm.
Hugh and a couple of his friends formed Inspire 20 years ago and grew it to a 300-person business with a big reputation, known for being really, really strong. They're really,
Yeah.
really good in this space. And they're now wholly owned by Kinetic, again, a big player in our world. And Hugh was really inspiring to me in a lot of ways, because he took the risk, and he understood what success looked like,
Yeah.
but also grown as a business leader over that time, and has offered me very sage advice from time to time in the intervening time. Now, this isn't for everybody. I'll now counter my earlier glib statement of you should just do it. One of my other friends asked me, how do I start a business? And my answer was, the best way to start a business is to start a business.
Hmm.
For a small business, you have to learn how to do everything.
Yeah.
If you're a sole trader or a very small business, you have to get everything from all of the structures, the insurances, your risk management, all that stuff. How to find customers, how to secure a customer, how to let contract, what the legal articles of contract might be, how to deliver, when to get paid, what the payment terms look like, and all that, cradle to grave. And then, of course, as
Yep.
soon as you start taking on subcontractors, it changes again.
Yeah.
So that's really hard to learn on a training course, or in a classroom, or reading a book. You can read about
Yep.
it, but the best way to learn it is to do it and try. And
Yeah.
that's been my approach from the genesis of Level 7 back in 2016 to us taking on RJD this last year. It's okay, I don't quite know how to do this. I've got a pretty good idea of where I'm going to start and what things I should be paying attention to, but I'm going to learn really fast.
Yeah.
And that's my advice to anybody who's thinking about starting a business, is be a little bit bold, give it a go, but learn. You must be learning all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds like you had quite a good mentor in the shape of Hugh as well.
Yeah, he's been brilliant. And we first met each other when we were both in the Royal Air Force about 25 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And his journey's been amazing. And every so often, when I've needed some advice, it's almost like sort of big brotherly advice. Hey, I'm facing this particular problem. How would you handle this, or what do you think?
Yeah.
On a completely pro bono, very helpful approach. He's been there when I've needed him often.
Yeah.
And it, when you look at some, you hold them up as, if we as a business could operate in the way that's been envisaged, excuse me, and if I as a leader can be thought about in the terms that Hugh is thought about as a leader, well, I think I'll have succeeded.
Yeah.
So there's big shoes to fill, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. But actually, it's good having that support in the background as well. Someone who's not only working on yourself through the education and realizing that to be successful, you have to go out and learn a complete new set of skills that to start with you probably didn't have, but you've also got somebody there in the background keeping you on target and giving you that steer once in a while as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's been entirely informal thus far. Where
Yeah.
However, again, another epiphany to me over the last month has been this need for champions. In that, what I've been looking at is the people around me as an individual and us as a company. We have people who have not flocked to our banner, but certainly are our cheerleaders and champions,
Yeah.
who will give us sage advice and who will help with certain situations and so on. And until now, that's been quite an informal thing. What I really need to do in order for us to succeed and accelerate again is that those champions, I need to weld those structures together. Somehow I need to create the conditions where they're not only an informal champion, perhaps they're a formal champion for us. And I need help, that I can lean on the right people for that help at the time, and where members of the team need advice and structure and so on. We've had some amazing support from someone that I knew as a senior program manager. She's incredible. And she's been now helping support and guide our team. I'd really like to formalize that, because they're going to accelerate with her help. And because, again, it kind of alluded to my role earlier on. Part of my job here is to grow and develop our leadership team so they can do it without me, so I can have a holiday.
Well, yes, that's the point, isn't it? You're there when you can go off on holiday on 24 hours notice and not come back for 6 months, and you've still got a growing business at the end of it.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Tony, it's been great talking to you today. If somebody wants to contact you and RJD, what do they need to do?
So a couple of ways. You can find me on LinkedIn, very easily found, Tony Reeves. Email Tony, get this right, treeves@rjdtechnology.co.uk. Keep an eye on that one. Happy for my phone number if anybody wants to get in touch.
Okay.
07475 807 107.
Okay.
And I'd be happy to have any kind of discussion. So there may be some people out there who'd be interested in just talking about, I'm about to start a journey, what do you think about this? I'm no coach, but I'm very happy to share. I believe in business karma. I believe in offering things to people to help them out, because either from them or from somebody else, somebody will pay you back one day. And that's how I try and operate, in sort of giving without the expectation of a return. So I'd be happy to have conversations with anybody who's interested in either starting a business or is looking for a big transitional change. We're certainly living that at the moment, and trying to consider the effects of what that change means. The principal thing when we bought RJD, the first thing that we were thinking about is how do we help those people who are staying with the business transition to this new space and understand how they feel, how they react to what's in it for me. What does this mean for me? Am I going to be better or worse for this change? And some of these things can be completely unintended, and you have to be considerate of them. So that was a big focus. So again, if anyone wishes to talk about that, I'll be more than comfortable to do so.
That's really kind as well. No, thank you for that. Well, I'll put that into the notes that accompany the video as well. Tony, been great talking to you today. Thanks for your time, and look forward to talking to you in the future as well.
Excellent. Thanks, Rupert. Really enjoyed this, and hopefully the passion for the business has come out, the passion to try and do something new and different. It's quite exciting, isn't it, really? So I'm looking forward to continuing our journey.
Excellent. Take care, Tony. Thank you.
Thank you.